What is going on at West Ham? Yesterday it seemed that John Victor, the deal was done. I made a video saying the deal was imminent. It looked like he was going to be our new goalkeeper. But then there was a twist in the tail. But not with one goalkeeper, not with two goalkeepers, not with three goalkeepers, but four other goalkeepers West Ham are supposedly interested in. And this is crazy. Some of them more believable than others, but all of them being backed up by reliable sources. So it does make you think, are we bringing in one goalkeeper? Are we bringing in two goalkeepers? Who are we going to bring in? How much are we going to spend? What's the deal? Who knows? So we're just going to unpack it all. And I am very aware that this video might age like milk. So by the time this is up, you guys might have more information. I've probably made a short about it and something like that. But let's hope by the time this video goes up that it's still relevant to you guys. And if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a like and a comment as well. I've enjoyed getting in conversations with you in the comment section. It's been fun. It's been engaging. You guys have it's various opinions going on at the minute in the comment section. Some people are really positive about the John Victor stuff with the money being spent. Some of you guys not so much. Some of you guys wanted Kyle McCauley and Graham Potter to get their targets. And I think this is what it comes down to. It appears that Graham Potter and Kyle McCauley really want Hermansen and aren't too fond of John Victor, and have somehow managed to convince David Sullivan and the board to go in one more time for Mads Hermansen. This could be true, right? This could be true. I want to talk about Hermansen first, just because I think he's the one that we're most likely going to get no matter what. And if this is the case, I like this from Potter and McCauley, because there was something that Lopetegui couldn't do, there was something that Moyes couldn't do, and that was convince Sullivan to not go for players. Now I know that we've got Kyle Walker-Peters and we've got Callum Wilson, but I think there's a big difference from Sullivan having three of his players to Potter's one, and them having two each. I know it's literally one swing either way, but I think it sets a precedent of, no, we will back you. Yes, I will make my own choices. I will bring in some players that might financially help the club more than maybe what you would like, but I will back you in other positions if you're so adamant you want that player. And that could be huge for us going forward. It could mean the difference between a healthy working relationship and troubled times at West Ham already. Because when Graham Potter came in, he was told he was going to be backed, then appeared in the window to be back with Al-Haji Malik Juf as long as we sold. We've now sold Mohamed Kudus and still not got any players in, really. I know John Claire Todibo also counts. So when this news came up last night, I was like, okay, cool. Back in for Hermansen. And I think he is the number one target of Potter and McCauley, and therefore my number one target. But I also think the goalkeeping coach likes a bit of Mads Hermansen as well. Used to work together, so wouldn't surprise me if that is the case. And I think overall this deal just ticks a lot of the boxes. He is the most expensive, but he's also the one with the most potential, and therefore that would make sense. In theory, getting Hermansen in would fix our goalkeeping position for years to come, right? Years. He is so young for a goalkeeper that he could literally be with us for a decade. I know he probably won't be, but you get my point, that he could easily do that, if not longer. So it would fix the position. And you have to imagine that if he does become so good, we get a profit on him. So I do think this is the deal we should go for, not only on a financial side. Yes, I know it would be expensive in the moment, but actually what we would gain in the future could be huge for West Ham. It's also a deal where I think this would make Areola a second choice, but the rumours are there's more goalkeepers we're interested in, and that could mean we're getting two goalkeepers in, but if we're only getting one, and it will be somebody and Areola, Hermansen for me starts, and Areola can play the cups and also provide competition, because Areola, although some fans aren't huge on him, he will provide competition. There's no doubt about that. He is not awful. I think recent performances have maybe clouded people's judgments on just how bad Areola is, considering he isn't realistically that bad. It's a solid job for us overall, but makes too many mistakes, and we just can't afford for that to happen if we want to go back into Europe. The amount of times I'll say, I reckon we lost 4 or 5 points from Areola last season, and that might not sound like a lot, but when you think about it in the Premier League, who we gave those points to by losing the points, that's a 10 to 12 point swing right there for us, and maybe that cost us a position or two. It probably didn't, but there's a chance it did. So yeah, Hermansen potentially is the one we're going for. Now next is Zion Suzuki. According to ex-West Ham United employee, we are still in for Suzuki. Apparently Parma are lowering their fee for Suzuki, so this is just one where we wait and see. I think if we get Hermansen or Suzuki, and they'll be number one choices, definitely. Who knows? At this point, who knows? I am so confused when it comes to what kind of keeper we're signing, what position they're going to take in the squad, whether it be first or second choice. But what I am sure of, if we get Suzuki or Hermansen, they will be first choice. But the Suzuki one has got a bit quiet, apart from X just reaffirming our interest in Suzuki. So I'm sure that we'll get an update sooner rather than later, whether that be Hermansen coming along and that means we just don't go for Suzuki, Or let's talk John Victor. Now, very quickly, I'm a fan of this deal, right? 10 million euros for a goalkeeper that's on the fringes of the national team makes sense to me. 29, which for a goalkeeper is a very decent age. You know, he's not somebody that's going to be out of the club in 2-3 years and be worth 2 million, right? He'll still be at least worth that value for the next 4 or 5 years. And he can only improve in the Premier League, I do believe that. I think we'd get profit on him. I don't think he's got a high of a ceiling as Hermansen or Suzuki, clearly not. But this is a man that clearly wants to make the Premier League work, clearly wants to come to West Ham, clearly wants to be number one choice. I just don't know if he would be. I think he'd be on a similar level to Areola. So this is where it comes down to, if Areola leaves, we get John Victor and Hermansen in? I don't know. Mainly on the fact of why would Victor want to sit on the bench if he's on the fringes of that Brazil national team? Because when you think about it, he's got it good at Botafogo. Yes, you might need to move to European League to up his quality, to up his experience. But overall as well, you got to sit there and think, you know, would that actually hinder him if it means he's going to a club where he's not first choice? And actually looking at Alisson, Ederson, yes, they are on the older age of the spectrum, but they've got a few years left in them. Where does Victor fit in that realm? Where does he go? And he's only going to kind of break through them if he's got any chance by going to European League. I do think that. But also he's got to be number one at the club he goes to. If we go with Victor and Areola, I'm sure he'll get there. But if we sign Suzuki or Hermansen, I don't think he will. I don't think we'd spend the money on either Hermansen or Suzuki for them to be second fiddle. Which leads me to believe that he's only coming on the basis that he will be first choice, or at least be competing for it. We heard in a report the other day that he's happy to be second choice, and that's one of the reasons we're signing him. But I can't believe that. I don't believe you'd go to any club to be second choice when you're, you know, in the position John Victor is. A great Brazilian club, on the fringes of the national team, and now you want to go to the Premier League to sit behind Alphonso Areola, and you'd be happy with that. I'm not saying he's not going there to challenge Areola, but on paper, to be challenging anybody, you wouldn't want to move. You're comfy at Botafogo. You've got first team football. You're playing for a big Brazilian team. I just don't buy that you want to move to be happy in second spot. With Hermansen, though, I think that'd be a great goalkeeping partnership. We ended up with both of them. Fantastic. Like I said, I do believe that we will make the John Victor deal back in player sales easily. Even if we sell Emerson, I think that deal alone would get us 75% of the way there, if not all the way there. I think these low ball offers for Emerson are bizarre. I know he's a bit on the older side, but I think we still can get some decent money for him. In actual fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Everton does leave soon, and that could greenlight the move for John Victor. And one thing I will say is, the John Victor deal itself, now, I'm not mad about it. I never was. I don't know who he is. I don't know how well he plays. I think it was more how the club are operating, how the board are operating. Are they going for Macaulay and Potter's choices? And it seems they are now. I don't know what's changed, but clearly Macaulay and Potter have said, look, back us here and we'll do you well. And I think Malik Juff's performance in the summer series helped. Him creating 2 great goals may have turned the head of Sullivan, and maybe he thought, oh, these lads are onto something here. And that is what's interesting to me. I don't know if that's the case. That might be complete and utter bollocks. But I just think somewhere inside of me, Malik Juff's helped that. I don't know why. Obviously, the other rumour is it's all a smokescreen. I just don't believe the John Victor deal would be a smokescreen, because personal terms would agreed, and it's come from Fabrizio Romano, and I just don't believe that we'd do that. I don't believe we'd agree personal terms with a goalkeeper that we weren't gonna sign, or at least intend to sign. Again, Potter not being interested in him may have stalled it 100%, but I'm interested to see whether Potter will be cool with him as a backup, or whether he'd rather keep Areola. I mean, the issue for Areola is the wages. Graham Potter has said that there is way too much money sitting on the bench. If we put Areola on the bench, that puts the money up even more. I do think we need to move Areola on this summer anyway, if he's not going to be first choice. I would rather 2 new goalkeepers, because I just don't think Areola will be happy sitting on the bench. I also think his value, whatever is left, decreases if we just leave him sat on the bench. So yeah, that's basically my thought on like the main square of goalkeepers, that being Areola, Suzuki, Hermansen and Victor. We also got a link to Michael Zatera of Werder Bremen, which is interesting. Apparently he's only worth 5 million euros, so that definitely is a second choice goalkeeper, which is, I think, is what raised the eyebrows of the fans who are like, is Areola leaving? Is Areola leaving? Because I do think deep down he probably is leaving. I don't know for sure though. And Dominik Levidikic of Fenerbahce is another option as well. We don't know the value of this player. But yeah, it's interesting. I think this is the 2 goalkeepers that I don't know if I believe. I don't know if it's just in the flurry of West Ham signing goalkeepers. Some journalists have thrown goalkeepers into the mix. I can't obviously claim that. That's not what I'm claiming. But I'm just very confused as to where these goalkeepers have come from at the last minute. Unless Areola wants to leave. Unless Areola has seen the noise about these new goalkeepers and thought, maybe my time at West Ham is up. Maybe they don't want me anymore. I do need to move on. And if that's the case, I think it works for both parties, to be honest. I don't see Areola as our long-term goalkeeper. I think he's okay, but I think those mistakes will cost us. I hope he goes to a good team. I hope he still has a good career, because he is a good keeper, Areola. He's done well for us. But I do think it comes down to what he can offer still on the pitch. And I don't know if that is good enough for us anymore. Like I said, I think he cost us points last season. He cost us in the game against Man United in pre-season. He almost cost us in the Bournemouth game. That isn't for good optics, is it? And I think if you're Graham Potter, you've stabilised the defence. We did that last season. We did concede less goals. Get a better goalkeeper in there. We might be conceding a lot less goals. That doesn't mean we're not prone to mistakes still. Individual errors will happen. But I don't know whether Areola is the right man to take us forward. I'll always back Areola as long as he wears the shirt 100%. I think he's been brilliant for us, especially in the Europa Conference League and those European nights in the first season in Europe. But I don't know whether his recent performances have been up to scrap. Because if I'm being honest, there's no hate towards Fabianski. He should have been obviously the first choice over Lucas Fabianski last season. And he wasn't. The fact we are having conversations as fans going, do we renew Fabianski and let go of Areola? That he theoretically shouldn't have let that become a conversation. If you had to ask me to put a bet on who we're going to get as a goalkeeper, despite not being a betting man, I'd say Hermansen for sure. I think that's locked in now. I think we are going to get him. I think we've spooked Leicester a little bit to lower their valuation after almost going for John Victor. I think that has worked to lower it a little bit. And if Areola goes, I think we'll get John Victor as well, because apparently he's happy to be second choice. I think most of the Areola tail will allow us to get John Victor. So that's who I think we're going to get. But who do you guys think we're going to get in the comments below? Let me know. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Take it easy, and bye-bye.